All right, everybody, welcome to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. Today I have an incredible member at Springdale, Arkansas here. Her name is Kelsey Rodden, and Kelsey has shared her transformation story with me, and I have to tell you, is incredible. It's an incredible transformation story. She was excited to show me on the wall. We actually took it down. It's off the wall here in the gym, and it's right here. And she's just gonna start by reading through this because I know that she took time to really articulate herself on paper. So welcome, Kelsey, to the podcast. Yeah. We're so excited to have you. Why don't you go ahead and jump into your transformation story, and then I'm going to ask you some questions about it. I know so many people are going to be inspired by this, though. I mean, like, it's an incredible story, and when we were talking offline, we were just talking about, how your story is not only inspiring people here in Springdale, but it's going to now, you're on the Burn Bootcamp podcast, you're going to be inspiring people all over the country. And it's such a privilege and honor to be here with you today. Thank you for being a member in the gym, and I'll let you go ahead and read your story, okay?
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I started coming to Burn in January 2021 on a 4-week promo with 2 of my best friends. I was in a really low place in life, and it showed. Physically, I was at my heaviest weight in my life. Mentally, the light at the end of the tunnel was so far away, and I so desperately was looking for anything to help me get there. I'll never forget the pact made on the phone the day before we showed up. I'll go if you go. I didn't fully buy into the whole process of consistently working out or healthy eating for the first 7 months. I would work out 2 or 3 times a week, and sometimes I just didn't go. I was notorious and very well known for watching the stories on Instagram and talking myself out of going, especially if it was a cardio day. At the end of July 2021, I could see some changes, but nothing drastic. I was going through pictures from the last year and hated how I allowed to treat myself and my body. The picture that did it was of our family at my youngest brother's graduation. There was a 21-day challenge that started on August 1st, and I mentally switched gears. I booked a focus meeting, I set my macros, held myself accountable to camp once a day, and made it a point to drink at least 100 ounces of water. Fast forward to January 2023, I'm in the best shape and probably health I've ever been in my life. I have a community that holds me accountable and pushes me to be the best every day. I'm down 70 pounds, 30 inches, 18% body fat, and 5 pant sizes. I've lost a lot between the scale and the tape measure, but the thing that I'm most proud of more are my non-scale victories. Going through an entire camp without being completely winded, having to take multiple breaks, lifting some of the heaviest weights in the gym, looking at food as fuel and not something to just make me full. But the 2 I'm most proud of, and I said I would not write this story until I could do, are going from not doing a box jump at all after I ruptured my Achilles in high school to doing the 30-inch box jump, barely being able to do a push-up from my knees to doing a standard push-up. 2 of my favorite warm-up pep talks are from 2 of our trainers. You don't have to work out, you get to work out, Kelly Sprouse, and give your best for today, not your best from yesterday or the day before, but today. It may not look the same, and that's okay as long as it's your best for today, Courtney. Mindset is everything. Switch it and you'll be unstoppable.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
And I just love how you ended with all the things that you've gained, right? And when we think about a fitness journey, it's the connotation to weight loss is usually there, and Burn and yourself and other members like you and Burn are helping us to really change the narrative and change the game about and make this journey more about what you can gain rather than what you can lose. And so I have to ask you, I'm gonna bounce back and forth between you today, and I'm also gonna ask you questions about the other girl in that picture who is not you today. That's you probably a long time ago when you didn't really recognize even who you were.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure it out, because there's so many people right now that are in that position that are just gonna be really they'll be able to understand what needs to be done to get from there to here. Okay?
Yeah.
So my first question is, if you look at this picture right here, the then picture, what is her attitude?
We were just getting by. I mean, I didn't go to the gym consistently. I would go to the big box gyms and throw weights around, maybe walk. I hate cardio. I'm one of those people, so I wouldn't do a whole lot. Didn't really know what I was doing. I played sports in high school, and I always had a coach that would show me what I needed to do and everything, but I wasn't consistently going, and I didn't have anybody to hold me accountable and be like, where are you at? Why aren't you here today? And I was going out. I would eat out 4 or 5 nights a week, just whatever was most convenient. I wouldn't hardly ever cook. So, yeah.
So then you have this moment in time that you talk about in your story when you said you're at your brother's graduation and you saw this picture of yourself. What, at that moment in time when you like looked at that picture, what was that thought that made you get it together?
I ran into some classmates from high school. They were also at graduation because they had family and other people that were there that were graduating. And they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't recognize you. And then we took the picture, and I saw it later, and I was like, that's why. Because at that point, that was during the pandemic, so we weren't really going anywhere or doing anything because everything was shut down. And I didn't really have a whole lot of like recent pictures, like full body pictures of myself. So I think in the back of my mind I knew, but I just didn't want to see it. I didn't want to face it.
And that day made you kind of face that fear. And that was the pain. It seems to me that the pain of having to look at that picture and say, hey, this is me, and I don't even recognize me, was greater than the pain of not liking cardio.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like, I'm willing to do the cardio if I don't ever have to have this feeling again. Yeah?
Yeah.
Would you say that's true?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So then you're moving forward, and you start the 7-month period where we were talking out again offline, and you were saying how, you would kind of come to the gym, but you weren't really committed, right? And then, so there was like this aha moment where I got to do something about this.
Yes.
And then there was this 7-month period, and then there was like another aha moment after that almost. Like what was I understand what got that initial momentum was that picture and the thought of not wanting to be that person anymore. Excuse me. And then you go into like 7 months later, and you draw that line in the sand. What was that line in the sand? Like, what was that moment in time for you like?
It was me and 2 of my best friends. We had gone on our girls' beach trip, and I remember swimsuit shopping, and I hated how I looked and everything. And I was like, well, we've got that 21-day challenge coming up. We'll go to the beach, we'll have a good time, and I'll come back and we'll shift gears. And I came back, and I booked a focus meeting with one of our trainers the first day of the challenge, set macros, went through what all I needed to do, and it just went from there.
What are some of the things that really worked for you?
As far as
getting to this person right now, who you are today. Like, you had a transformation, mental, physical, emotional transformation, and that doesn't happen unless you do X, Y, and Z things. What were those things? What were those X, Y, and Z for you?
Don't try and change everything all at once.
Okay.
That was the biggest thing, and that's what I tell everybody, is don't try and change everything all at once.
What's the first thing you changed?
The first thing that I did was come to camp once a day.
Okay.
If you can go to camp once a day and keep that routine for 21 days, just like our challenges are always 21 days or 4 weeks or however long, if you can do that for that long and stay consistent, then add something after that and do that for 3-4 weeks. And my first one was come to camp once a day.
Okay.
And then I added on, hit 100 grams of protein, because my macros were terrible.
Yeah, you weren't meal prepping or anything like that. It was kind of seafood, food type deal.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a free-for-all.
Yeah.
But
we all, I know we've all been there for sure.
Yeah.
And the fact that you caught it and then you're able to deploy these strategies. I'm really interested in that, because it is not an easy thing to do what you did. Yeah. Right? And I'm sure you know that firsthand.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah. What were some of the hardest parts? What were some of the most challenging parts for you?
Learning that food is fuel.
Okay.
That was huge.
What was food to you before? You just didn't have an association with it, or?
It was just whatever was quickest, cheapest, and most convenient.
Okay.
That's
You're
how.
out with colleagues. You're out.
Yeah.
Doing the whole
If you
corporate
go,
life thing. And
if you go out and eat, you can eat whatever you want, and it's fine.
Okay.
Because you'll go to the gym and work it off later.
Yep.
But once you shift gears and you start actually looking at it as fuel, and when you go to the gym and work out, now if I, like getting back from our work trip, I didn't eat the best, so I don't feel 100%, and I can feel it now, but before I didn't know that I felt bad because that's how I always felt.
Ooh, that's good right there. It's like you don't know the energy that you could have until you actually experience it. How many people do you think are living that way? I mean, it seems to me.
I think a lot.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of people, like a lot.
Because that's how I grew up, and it's nothing on my parents or anybody that I was around. That's just how that's all we knew.
Right.
So
you make the decision that food is fuel, and then what were some of that's the philosophy, right? And then underneath the philosophy, there's some tactics, there's some strategies. What was like give me like super practical things that you would do, to be able to do what you've done. It takes practicality. You can't just be like this rigid, hardcore, all in, I cook egg whites and only eat egg whites and take them with me everywhere I go, that type of bodybuilder mentality. So what were some practical things that could help people maybe follow the same pathway that you did once you decided food was fuel?
I keep snacks with me. I'm like a mom. I don't have any kids, but I'm like a mom. I always have snacks. If anybody ever needs anything, I have snacks. I usually keep some kind of, I'll either have bananas or some kind of a protein bar, just something that's easy and quick, that if I don't have time to necessarily go grab a meal right then, it's something that I can at least put in without having to go oh, look, there's candy.
Yeah, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, for sure.
Exactly.
Okay, so then you started coming to the gym. What got you? You were coming to the gym. You started layering on food, good nutrition, good healthy nutrition. You start to feel energy. When did you make the decision to say, I'm gonna do this? What was it? The box jump, and what was the other one? It said it right here.
The push-up.
Yeah, the box jump and the push-up. Yeah. What you obviously had physical goal. There's performance goals there, right? Which I think is a tactic for people. It's like you weren't focused on the weight. There's not. The only thing you say in here is you just described the weight loss. Your goals were performance driven, and I think that is such an interesting concept. It's back to what you can gain, not what you lose. What made you pick those things? Were those things that were frustrating you? Was it things that you were already kind of good at, and then you knew you could get better at? Why those two exercises?
I've never been able to do a push-up.
Okay.
I know that is going to blow some people's minds. I've never been able to do a push-up from my toes.
Dude, we were doing the Sphinx push-ups out there in camp today, and you were doing them. Yeah. I would have never guessed.
Yeah, I could never do a push-up. I could barely do it from my knees.
Okay.
So that was one of my big things, was I want to learn how to do a push-up. And the box jumps was one of the biggest mental blocks that I have ever hit in my entire life. And I don't remember which trainer it was, but one of the trainers called me out and they were like, why are you stepping on the box? You could jump. I know you can jump because I've seen your knee tucks. I was like, well, I ruptured my Achilles. And they were, oh, recently? No, it was 10 years ago, but that's how I did it. So it's not the vibe. And they were like, let's try it.
Yeah.
So we did it, and here we are now at the 30-inch box jump.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's incredible. And you didn't let the fear of that paralyze you, right? It just took a little bit of encouragement from somebody else. I think that's something that we all need. Isn't it incredible? I mean, you're now an avid Burn Boot Camp member. You know all the people here. It's isn't it incredible how do you say it? Little encouragement, genuine encouragement people need to feel like somebody believes in them, like they're worth it.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? That all it took was them being like, come on,
you can do this.
Come on, you got this. I know you got this, right? And then you probably popped up there and did. Was it first take?
It took me a little bit because I stood there and stared down the box, and they were like, I need you to walk away and come back to it and then try it. And as soon as the trainer turned their back and I did it, I was like, oh my gosh, I did it.
That's incredible. How's that feeling?
Yeah, it was big.
Yeah.
It was big because I hadn't done a box jump since I was in high school, because that's how I went down the first time.
Well, people think sometimes that like things like that are trivial, like these small little wins that we have sometimes are huge wins. Like for you, like I can see it in your face, in your energy when you're talking about it, how important that was to you to do that, which is the basis. That's why I try to preach to everybody to set those performance goals, because the confidence that you gain from jumping on that box, like you still have it. Like, it stays with you because of the how'd you say, like the emotional signature that comes with that. It's like almost stamps on you, right? And
it makes you feel like you can do anything else.
Yeah. What other exercises right now that you're thinking, okay, because this journey doesn't end, right?
Yeah.
So you got the push-up down, you got the box jump, you even got the Sphinx push-ups down we were doing out there, and the body weight conditioning, by the way. You came to cardio today, so you don't hate it that bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you like cardio. Make you like conditioning.
We're learning.
We're learning. What other performance goals do you have right now that you're working on?
Right now, so I decided, it's coming up on about a year, that I wanted to learn to love running, because I hate running.
Okay.
I hate it. Despise it.
I feel like there's a pattern here of like you despising or hating and not liking things, but then going to attack it
But then I go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I met with our trainer Kelly and told her, I was like, look, I know that you're like a cardio gal. I need you to teach me how to be a cardio gal. And we meet weekly on Tuesdays and check in and see how we're doing. So I'm going to start training for a 10K. I've done a couple 5Ks, and that's the main one. And then just doubles, and she added surrender squats to my list this year. So
do you have any, do you focus on biometrics at all? Like, do you focus on your weight? Do you focus on your body fat? Do you focus on any of that stuff, or is that not healthy for you?
We check it. We weigh and measure just about every week, and I'll do scans on our Evil once a month.
Okay.
Just to kind of make sure that I'm not going one way or the other.
Yep.
And if I need to adjust my macros, I can. But it's not necessarily oh my gosh, I gained 2 pounds. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Right.
And just like stop eating or completely drop my calories down.
So you've gotten over that mental hurdle of being able to look at biometrics for what they are. They're just measurements of progress rather than measurements of your worth. Yeah, that's incredible though. I mean, how some people will, and this is more the vast majority, I would say, from my experience, think that they want to look at the biometrics, and they might, but it puts them in like this emotionally recessed place, and they put too much of their worth, their self-esteem into an arbitrary number on the scale. I mean, I tell them all the time, I could be behind you putting my foot on it and you wouldn't even know. And you're going to let that tell you who you are, So I think I commend you, because getting over the mental hurdle of being able to look at these measurements and being able to, how do you say, like calling it what it is. Like body fat is just body fat. Like people aren't fat, like have fat, right? There's people who have fat, like you have fingernails, that doesn't make you a fingernail. It's like, and there's this interesting dynamic there. Okay, so what about Burn Boot Camp keeps you coming back? Because it's hard, and we know it's hard.
It is
And I just pictured your butt today.
You did.
And I know I did.
I was like, oh man, he caught me.
I got you. So what keeps you coming back?
I feel like I can do anything after I come in and do, like today, body weight is not the vibe, but we did it. So I feel like I can do anything. If I can come in here and do that for 45 minutes, I can go do anything else. But then also, I was gone for a week, and I had people messaging me, where are you at? Why aren't you here? We miss you. When are you coming back? So it feels good to know that there's people that are like, where's Kelsey at? She's not in the gym. She's here at 6 a.m. every day. Like, so it's the community in that.
What is her attitude now? This version of you, the version who was always there that you were wanting to bring out, that you did this whole journey and you just brought this new you to the world, and what is her attitude now?
It's like I quoted Kelly, you don't have to work out, you get to work out. Because there's so many people that, for whatever reason, if it's a physical issue or disability, that can't go work out, or if they may not have time that day, or they have to go the next day, or something, for whatever reason, they can't make it to the gym that day, or move, or go do anything. And I have that ability. I have that flexibility with my job and my life to get in here for 45 minutes.
What advice would you give to somebody out there right now? Because there's thousands of people listening to this episode right now.
No pressure.
No pressure. But a good majority of them are in a state of mind that is not one they desire to be in. And that's part of the reason that we make this podcast, is because it takes us outside of the four walls of the gym and starts to make your health and fitness journey come alive, because we all know that you're not just building biceps, right? We're building character in here, and dedicated and, quite frankly, obsessed with spreading that message, right?
Yeah.
What message might you be obsessed with spreading?
The workouts are hard, but the hardest part out of anything is just walking in the door. That is hands down the hardest part, is walking in the door. Because I probably wouldn't have stuck with it if I didn't have my two best friends with me that day. And then we
find two best friends and walk through the door.
Yeah.
With them. Yeah.
There's been several people that I've met that have walked in here by themselves, and they're like, I'm so nervous. And I said, don't be nervous. You're going to meet people here. I'm here. You're here. We're going to do this. So I would say the hardest part is walking in that front door and getting here.
Okay. What anything that you would like to say that you haven't really talked about yet?
There's so many things. It's just 45 minutes. I think our trainer said it's 2% of your day. It's 2% of your day that you get to give just to yourself, and then the rest of the day, it can be for your job, for your family, whatever it is, but that 2% is just you here right now.
I love that. I think that's a good place to end.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Bird Nation, you heard it from her. This is Kelsey. Amazing transformation. You got to come to Springdale and get it in with her and work out here with the crew. It's an amazing gym. You're a staple of this community. I mean, there's over 500 members here, and they all know you. You know them, well, maybe not all of them, but it's just an incredibly close and tight-knit community that you guys have here in Arkansas, and I appreciate you being on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 2 claps on 2, 1, 2.